Hi, today we're going to talk about using context clues and identifying word gaps to clear up um, for Michaela de Prince. Let's take a look. So let's stop and think. What are some strategies that you use for figuring out an unfamiliar word? You might have said breaking down the word to help you pronounce it or looking at its meaningful parts, but I would add that you should connect to the parts of the word to see if you have any background knowledge on them. Another big strategy that I've noticed helps students to be successful, especially in a narrative text, is if they make a connection to the situation that the person is in that moment. Also, are you able to answer what has happened in the text at this up to this point? Really powerful. And then lastly, or second to last, we should try to use the context clues before, around, and after a word. And then I always like to try replacing the word with a synonym that I think might fit in the sentence as well. Let's take a look at an example. Here we go. So we have our word in blue already. And even before I jump in the text, I'm noticing that it has a prefix. So that's going to help me pronounce it. And it's also going to help me analyze it. So remember, I want to connect to what I know. And I am thinking of words like disagree, disassemble. And I'm thinking that dis is meaning something like not or to take apart or to be against. So let's head into the text and see if we can make sure that we understand what's going on in the scene and look for some context clues. An American woman, Elaine DePrince, had come to camp to adopt child number 26, now called Mia. Oh, that's right, Michaela's 27. For a moment, Michaela was distraught because she believed that all other children would be taken to new homes and she would be left behind. Oh, that clue pops right out to me. She's afraid she'll be left behind. So let me see if that makes sense. Michaela was afraid because she believed that all the other children would be taken away. Well, I don't know if that fits with not or against. So maybe distraught means extremely upset against feeling normal. All right. And we have the second paragraph because we might need to look in there for some more clues. But abruptly, there was a change of plan when the aunties told Elaine de Prince that Michaela was unlikely to find another home. She decided to adopt both girls. So I notice there's a change of plan, right? She was not adopting her, and now she is. All right. Let's take a look at another example. So once again, I look to the word for words that I know. I make connections. And I see this base word here that I've seen before, toxic. I know that has something to do with chemicals, and in must mean there are chemicals inside. So, oh, and I see I have two suffixes here. That would help me pronounce the word. Intoxicated. Intoxicated. Oh, I've heard that before. Once again, connect to your own life. But I've heard it when people are talking about illegal substances or alcohol. Let's see what's happening because I don't remember there being anything about alcohol in the text with Michaela de Prince. Michaela remembers struggling to understand what was happening. She was intoxicated by the American woman with her dazzling blonde hair, but there was something else on her mind too. Oh, I get it. The writer is using a metaphor. It's the dazzling blonde hair that is making her feel almost like alcohol would, like a euphoric state, because she probably has never seen blonde hair like that in the part of the world that she lives in. And I imagine that the woman didn't just have dazzling blonde hair, but probably makeup and clothes and shoes. So again, even though I know that intoxicated is usually connected to drugs or alcohol, in this case, it's a metaphor for how she is overwhelmed by this woman's beautiful hair. So let's change gears just a little bit. Sometimes writers write in a way where they're assuming that the reader knows or will understand what they're saying without giving further explanation. So let's take a look at the paragraph here. That's really a science paragraph, not related to Michaela de Prince, but it'll help me make my point. The air flows through a channel in the pedestal up to the tube, which is hollow. The interior of the tube acts like a ramp, which curves around and ends in slits in the back of the fan. Then the air flows along the surface of the inside of the tube and out toward the front of the fan. Whoa, that was a lot of description and not enough background and not enough context clues. So, do we give up because the writer made it too difficult for the reader? No, we employ strategies. So, I might go back and reread more slowly. I might pause and try to picture individual things like a hollow tube. I might even try to sketch it as I read it to help it make more sense to me. So it's really important as a reader to recognize when the author writes in a way that's confusing, but know that you have strategies to fix that up. So let's take one last look at a sentence from the text where I think that for some readers, the writer may have done that. Her memories of early childhood are fragmentary moments of piercing clarity, which have been reassembled in date order. Whoa, I'm already a little bit confused. And I think it's because the writer, once again, tried to use such descriptive language. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in and note some of the words that are already giving me some problems. Hopefully, they're the same for you. So, this word here, I can tell that it is an adjective because the word moment comes after it, and I know it's describing that. I see this word piercing, which I know, but not in this context. They're not talking about somebody getting hurt. And then I also see this word, which has a familiar word inside of it. But I think it's also another long word that's making the sentence a little bit confusing. So let's see if we can use some of our strategies here. Well, in this first word, remember, I'm always looking for parts that I know and connecting to them. I see this term or the noun fragments. And I know fragments are part of something. Let's see if I can get that to disappear. And then I go to this word and I think of piercing as being a noise that's painful to the ears or a hole driven through something. But I do know the word clarity is clearing. So now I have to think of why would something that's clear be piercing? But I'll go back in the context. Lastly, I have the word reassembled. Well, I know assemble means to put together, so it just means to put together again. Now that I've analyzed some of these words, maybe I can make more sense of this. Her memories of early childhood are fragmentary moments of piercing clarity. Now I'm going to go back and connect to the situation. I know that Michaela's childhood was full of obstacles. So maybe that's why their memories are piercing clarity because they're actually painful. I also remember Michaela saying that she didn't remember her parents. So that would make sense that her memories are just pieces of moments. And then it says, which have been reassembled in date order. So she's taken all those difficult moments in her life and put them in an order or a sequence that makes sense. She believes it was soon after witnessing the killing of her teacher, there's one of those fragmentary, piercing moments, that she stumbled upon something that was to shape the rest of her life, a discarded magazine. Excuse that typo there. Now it makes much more sense. But I had to break it down in order for that to happen. I had to connect to the text, think about what I knew, think about what was happening in the text right now, look around the word, but really analyzing the words and connecting to parts of the words was what was able to open up my mind to help me understand. So I hope that this was helpful to you.